which would make sense for the other statement saying that you have to mix it in with this, you have to combine it with this supplement to get the effect, because that ingredient isn't really in the other product. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about Pruvit. So it's a company that someone mentioned when I was talking about supplements, and they brought it up saying that it's one that they've been using for a while, and they wanted to know if it was like legitimate or not, and I offered to look it up, do research on it, because it's just kind of what I like to do, especially when it comes to companies that are likely misleading people, and this one doesn't seem to be that different. So this company, the premise for the product I'm looking at today is Keto OS. The advertisement for this product, as you'll see, is that it puts your body into ketosis, and then at that point you're getting into ketosis without actually having to do any of the work or the dieting, which is a broad claim, and we'll get into that and like how they're saying it and why they're saying it that way. So we'll look at it. This is their website, and you go to their products. They don't seem to have a lot of products. On one website, it's actually hard to find multiple products for them. You have to like search individually. So some of their right here, this says rapidly repairs DNA, optimizing body composition, which is strange because like how do you know what somebody's body composition should be to be optimal? How do you know that your product is going to do that? Like it's just like a very vague statement that makes no sense. There's no specificity to it. So they have two links to research that you would assume backs up their claims. It's about 500 pages. It's like 2 volumes. It's a little different, but about 500 pages. Looks like they just Googled a couple keywords and they just printed off everything that had to do with those keywords. I did not read 500 pages worth of studies, some of which I did skim through it, some of which are weird, and others. So there's a lot of it has to do with how the product has been used to check for DNA repair, specifically when it comes to like sunburns or radiation damage, and then topical application, and how I even saw that there's like that this is probably good for like skincare or like sunscreen, but when it comes to organ repair, they do a lot of tests on skin because it's just, I guess it's easier to do tests on skin. There seems to be some truth to the DNA repair when it comes to radiation damage based on a topical application. And then there are a handful of studies that talk about the ingestion and how it is effective. In these studies, there's a couple that say how it's somewhat effective when it comes to repairing DNA if it's orally ingested. Obviously, how something works rubbed on your skin is going to be different than how it works in your body, right? It's a different process. As you'll see later, there's no real evidence, like legitimate evidence or studies that support that it does anything realistically when it comes to regenerating cells or mitigating cancer or anything like that. There does seem to be support that it is good for rheumatoid arthritis, and it does seem to have an effect on some inflammatory responses, but not to the implications that they're putting in their advertisement. Some of their research has to do with damage to your ears if there's sound stress. It just seemed to be like anything associated with the name they put in there. Like some of it, I don't see how it's applicable. But again, I'm not a doctor, so maybe in different ways it's applicable. This video is not based on the quality of that one ingredient because they don't even show you how much of the ingredient is put into their product. So it's kind of like a moot point because you don't know. But even let's assume that the ingredient does do what they say to do, and there's like a little bit of DNA repair. But as you see, it's kind of conflicted because the cat's claw is, I guess, one of the names for it. It's changed a couple times, but even here, it's used for osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. It's used for other things like So this is one of those things where companies can say, hey, this product is used for cancer, it's used for infections. Yep, it doesn't mean that it's effective at those uses, right? Those are not the same statement. So when it says that it's used for these things, that doesn't mean that it's valid. So yeah, as it comes to its use for more like explosive causes, then there doesn't seem to be any basis for it. There's no actual like real evidence to support that. So I don't want to spend too much time on that specific ingredient because it's just, I don't know, they have conflicting. So if you look at modern research and the quicker results that you get from the modern research, that it's not effective, but they do have a giant volume of arguably pertinent information as it comes to the usefulness of it. I would say that it doesn't look like, but based on just skimming through those, the volume of participants and the ranges, they weren't like the greatest of studies. So there's no real way to say, and it's not up to me to determine that. But some of back to their website, if you look, it says their dietary supplement, it has to be consumed with Signal OS. They're saying that the thing that we're selling you and what it does for doesn't work unless you consume it with this other thing, which is interesting. I don't know why that would be, but it's also hard to find that product here. It's not on the website. You can't go to the products and like search for it. You have to leave and specifically type it in. You can't just follow it there. You can't buy them both at the same time. It's like, it seems to be, I don't know if it's a website issue or they don't want to just have it that easy. I don't know. But as you see, their ingredients, 4,000% vitamin B12. When it comes to supplements and what you can buy or not buy, if it's just a list of ingredients, there's no percentages of it, there's no mass associated with it or volume or whatever, then it's a proprietary blend, right? They don't have to tell you what it is, which usually means they don't want to tell you what it is, because then it might be obvious that what they're doing is not legitimate. And when it comes to that list, from what I understand, the top of the list is like the highest ratio inside that product, and then the bottom of the list, the least amount of that ingredient is in that blend, and their active ingredient or their advertised ingredient is on the bottom of that list, which is not surprising. So yeah, you have to search for the Signal OS. It doesn't come up. It just goes to a blog. So it doesn't even even if you search in their thing, it doesn't give you the product that you're supposed to have that makes that other product work. If you look at it and you try to find their other product, it's not hard to find. It's just not on another website. The price of this just blew my mind. $108 for just a fucking handful of pills. But if you look at the ingredients, I'm not a chemist, right? So I'm not gonna pretend that I know all of this. And it's got the cat's claw stuff, which is the CMed 100. Oh, okay. So this one actually has the 350 milligrams of the CMed 100. 350 milligrams of it, based on what I read, is on the very low end of the milligrams per kilograms that you would need for the effectiveness for it to do those minor things that we talked about earlier. So if that's the case for the other one, I don't think it said how much it was in the other one, but if it's also 350, then you would get, combined with this one, 700 milligrams. So then based on the dose, then it kind of makes sense. But also here, I would say that this is more than in the other products, because this, again, at the top of the proprietary blend, is on the top of the list and the order of how much is used. And here they're advertising how much they're using. So that, to me, there's a couple options. So if they're advertising on this one how many milligrams are in this blend, then they're not shy about how much they're using. So they're advertising, hey, we're using a lot, right? But then you go to the other one, it's on the bottom of the list and they're not advertising. So one, it could just be a mistake that they didn't type it out, which is possible. But two, it makes me think that there's just enough in there so that they can say that it's in there, but they don't want you to know that they're not putting it in there. which would make sense for the other statement saying that you have to mix it in with this, you have to combine it with this supplement to get the effect, because that ingredient isn't really in the other product. To get the effect of the ingredient that they're advertising, you have to buy this other product, which is the one that actually has the ingredient. That's my thought. But yeah, so not so much concern with that. So then we're gonna watch a video, but look at right here. It says there's description for ketosis, the definition of it, and it lists. So based on the product they have, the ingredients and how it's organized and separate from the other one that they need to get the usefulness out of the ingredient that they're advertising, I would say that they're a little misleading when it comes to how effective it is. So here's the video.
Have you ever built a campfire before? If so, did you know that by building that fire, you've actually unlocked the power for unlimited energy, fat loss, and focus? Let me explain. When you build a campfire, there are 3 types of fuel that you can use: kindling, logs, and coal. Now, the kindling is the easiest to catch on fire. It burns fast, and if you're not careful, it'll be gone before the larger logs even catch on fire. The logs take a little bit longer to catch on fire, but if you're able to burn them correctly, eventually they will catch the coals on fire and give you a nice long heat that'll keep you warm throughout the night. So how does knowing that give you unlimited energy, fat loss, and focus? Well, did you know that there are also 3 types of fuel that run your body? Carbs, proteins, and fats, and each one works differently inside of you. The first is carbs. Yes, we love them, and yes, we crave them, and as soon as we start to eat them, we get an instant burst of energy, but unfortunately, it doesn't last long, and we're left with a crash and a constant craving for more. Now next, we shift to the proteins, the building blocks for our muscles, but also they can actually be the barrier that keeps us from losing fat. And then there is the last and the best source of fuel. We call this source fat, and like the coal, if you can catch it on fire, it'll give you the longest and the best source of energy. But for most people, it's almost impossible to get to a state where they can actually burn fat. Now this is a state we call ketosis. So why is it so hard? Well, it starts with the kindling, or the carbs. We eat some, but they quickly burn off, causing our energy to drop and giving us cravings for more. We can keep throwing these sticks on the fire, but they will burn fast and never give us the consistent warmth or energy that we need. When you start to add proteins to this fire, your body can burn these logs as fuel a little bit longer, yet it still doesn't compare to what happens when you get your body to a state where it can actually burn fat. So why do we want to burn fats? Well, a few reasons. Common sense says that burning fats, well, it helps us lose fat, and he's right. But on top of that, when you get to a state where you're burning pure fats, they release ketones into your body. And these little ketones are like thousands of little motivational...
Look at the biceps and those smiley faces. All right.
Speakers running through your body. They give you energy, they give you focus, they make you feel incredible, and yes, they make the fat melt off your body.
Okay, so right there, fat's melting off. The phrasing, like they could do better.
Because it's finally being burned off. It's no longer being guarded by the carbs and the proteins. So if getting through the carbs and the proteins and into the fats is so important, then why are we doing it each day? Well, the answer is because it's hard. To get our best fuel source and start burning fats and releasing ketones, the average person will have to work out 10 times harder and longer than they are now.
I wonder where they got that information. I don't know where they got that number. It's just a magnitude that sounds good. Like, there's no associated research that says anything like that.
They've got to burn through all of their carbs and all of their proteins, and then, and only then, will they finally hit their fat. Yet that's where the magic happens. But even for the most extreme people who have learned to biohack their own bodies to get into a state of ketosis, it can...
Because running and swimming is biohacking.
It can often take weeks or months to even get there. But when they are in...
And then right there, it says you can take weeks or months to get to ketosis. And that's not true. Like, I think it's for 72 hours and you're in ketosis. That's if you, it depends on like what it depends on what's in your body, but it doesn't take weeks to get into ketosis.
In that state, they are on. Perfect energy, perfect focus, and perfect fat loss. It's kind of like playing the game Pac-Man, where most of the game you spend running away from the ghost, but every once in a while, Pac-Man will eat one of those power pellets and everything suddenly changes. Instead of running away from the ghost,
I wonder if they're allowed to use Pac-Man in their advertising.
You're on fire and you start actually chasing the ghost, and the game becomes yours for the taking. That's how it feels when you're in ketosis. Life literally becomes yours for the taking. It's sad, but most people spend their whole life like Pac-Man and
Literally. It literally becomes yours, because before then, it wasn't yours, literally. Not your life.
the beginning of the game, trying to stay safe and secure, not even knowing that the power pellets exist, not knowing what it's like to be on. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, having these ketones in your blood is the goal. But how do we get there without spending weeks or months?
Okay, see right there, they just switched it. It wasn't that burning the fat to get to the ketones was the goal and to lose fat. It was having ketones available, right? So that's where they're going to start their product.
Let's biohacking our way into ketosis. Well, that's a question we asked ourselves a few years ago.
Okay, that's important. They said they're biohacking into ketosis. They're saying, they're very implicitly stating they are putting you into ketosis.
On. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, having these ketones in your blood is the goal. But how do we get there without spending weeks or months biohacking our way into ketosis? Well, that's a question we asked ourselves a few years ago. And at first, it seemed like an impossible question. But recently, some scientists we work with have stumbled upon a new formula that actually made it possible. We call this new formula the Ketone Operating System, or Keto OS for short. Within just 60 minutes of taking it, your body almost instantly goes into ketosis.
Okay, it's saying your body almost instantly goes into ketosis. I feel like an hour is pretty instant, but they're not being specific with their claim. They're saying that your body goes into ketosis. Your body's not in ketosis. Your body is not, based on what they're giving you, your body is not burning fat to create ketones. That's ketosis. They are saying you can ingest ketones and use the ketones as an energy source. Your body's not in ketosis. You just have ketones now. Your body's not producing ketones. You're getting them from the source. That's why it's exogenous.
Check out how this works. Before Keto OS, they're not in ketosis. Within less than 60 minutes after taking Keto OS, your body is in nutritional ketosis.
Okay, right there. They're saying your body's in nutritional ketosis. Now, when we go down their bottom of their page, they explicitly state that this does not put you into nutritional ketosis. Here, I'll just show you right now. You go down. Here, ketones produced as alternative to glucose. Nutritional ketosis is a process by bodies breaking down fat as a fuel source and creating ketones. So nutritional ketosis is a process by breaking down fat. So your body, to get to be in ketosis, your body is breaking down fat to make it. So you're losing fat. It's not what they're giving you. This is source and creating ketones. Supplementing. So this is what you're actually doing with the product. You're supplementing with exogenous ketones to give your body ketone bodies. They're putting these ketone bodies into your bloodstream without you going into nutritional ketosis. So the video is saying, you take this, and in an hour, you're in nutritional ketosis. But then down here, under how it works, they're stating that this allows you to experience a range of health benefits without pushing your body into nutritional ketosis. So they're explicit, they're stating it. You're not burning fat. So the whole claim is a fraud. Oh, this is interesting. Look at these hyperlinks. They're not hyperlinks, they're just not very hyper. Let's go back up to that sweet video.
Isn't that awesome? Don't just take our word for it. Get your Keto OS now and do the test and prove it to yourself. After you do, you'll discover a few things. First, ketosis. Within less than 60
So
minutes
you don't have
after
to
taking Keto
listen
OS,
to them.
your body is in nutritional
And you
ketosis.
expect them to be like,
Isn't
oh,
that
look at these
awesome?
researchers, or
Don't
look
just
at
take
what
our
these
word for it. Get your Keto
experts
OS
have said
now
about it,
and do
because
the
they've
test
already done
and prove
it
it
too.
to
So don't
yourself.
take our word for it, take
After you
theirs. They're not saying that. They're saying, don't take our word for it, take your word for it.
You'll discover a few things. First, Keto OS is the best tasting health drink you've ever had. Second, you'll see your body almost instantly go into nutritional ketosis. And
Again, second time they claimed it puts you into nutritional ketosis, whereas on their page it specifically states you're not going into nutritional ketosis because your body's not burning anything. It's just getting an energy source.
And third, you'll almost instantly feel what world-class athletes and biohackers spend weeks trying to accomplish. Your body will be in nutritional ketosis, and you'll get all the benefits that come with that. Increased fat loss, more mental clarity and focus, tons of extra energy. So do you want to experience what it feels like to be in ketosis? If so, then get your Keto OS now and find out what it feels like to unlock your energy, fat loss, and focus.
Okay, so right there, they're claiming this will unlock, you'll feel the unlocked energy, fat loss, and focus. Now, I will argue with them. I can say that the ketones that they're giving you, the exogenous ketones, they're going to give you a source of energy, assuming that that's what the product is. Then sure, there's a chance that it could give you that source of energy, but it is not giving you a fat loss. If anything, taking this product inhibits fat loss and mitigates fat loss, because now your body is not breaking down anything. So like you have your carbs, your protein, and your fat, right? Let's just assume everything else that they're saying is precise and accurate, which is interesting. But now you're introducing an extra energy source, an external energy source. Your body is using those energy sources, assuming it does, and I'm sure that it does a little bit. It's using the ketones as energy instead of breaking down fat to create ketones, instead of burning out the carbs. So this like if the product works like it's supposed to work, it's literally mitigating fat loss. It's making it harder for you to burn fat because it's putting another energy source in the way before your fat is used as an energy source. So I don't even know what they're doing. And then when it comes to the idea that, hey, this is probably just a pyramid scheme, it's like, well, yeah, look at how it's set up. So just like any other pyramid scheme or pyramid management style, whatever you want to call it, you don't want to call it a scheme, you buy it for a super expensive price, and then you sell it for a slightly more expensive price, and then what you can do, you become a team member, so you can buy it for a cheaper price and then sell it for the expensive price to other people, and then you convince them, hey, you could buy it for cheaper, but you have to be a member, and now you can sell it too, and then all that upselling goes to the top tier of the pyramid. And I mean, if you just look at how they outline on their own website how this works, if you look at their performance rewards, you can see like it's graphically even a pyramid, so there's no hiding it. I mean, you want to call it a triangle, then call it a triangle. It doesn't matter. Like the idea, it's not, if the company is making money off of commissions that other people downstream are making, then they're not making money off, then it's not the product that they're selling. They're selling salesmen, and they're getting other people to do the work for them. And then it just to be transparent on that, you can look up how much they make, and it's as indicative as pyramid schemes as it can be, where you have the vast majority of the people spending more money being a team member than they are making money. So like, yeah, they're making, so they're making $500, $1,000 a year, whatever it is, at the bottom tier of this. But that's not a net profit, right? That is gross, and then they have to subtract the money that they spend on the product. So even on their own disclosure, you can see that it is rare to start making money. You have to have been in the company for a long time, and you have to effectively have a bunch of tiered people. They say, hey, there's a lot of people who don't make any money, that they actually spend more money buying the product than they do selling it. So they're not even making money that way. So when it comes to this, I mean, it's pyramiding, that's for sure. So my recommendation for when it comes to supplements in general is stay away from stuff that's got a proprietary blend. That being said, just go into those things knowing or assuming that they're not as effective as they advertise, because there's a good chance, most likely, that they're not. But like pre-workouts, like take pre-workouts for example. I know that there's stuff in the pre-workouts that I take that don't do anything for me, but it's like a psychological, like, hey, this pre-workout, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go work out, because I know that once I take the pre-workout, then I'm set up to work out. So to me, that benefit outweighs knowing that I don't really need the pre-workout. It's not doing a whole lot for me. And then when it comes to other supplements, if there's multi-level tier systems as to like who's a salesman and the prices are outrageous, then it's probably not like the best thing for you. But as it comes to Pruvit, I would say that some of their statements are misleading, and then I would also argue that how they have set up the website and their how this works contradicts the text that they have at the bottom, to where it's implying very strongly, it is almost just saying it, but it's kind of an implication that this product burns fat or helps you burn fat. It gets you into ketosis, which is not the case. And they know it's not the case because they even wrote down in the text in the bottom that it doesn't actually get you into ketosis. You're not getting that benefit. You're getting the energy of it. So I would say if you are looking to have just a surplus of energy without changing your diet, then this might actually be good because it's going to give you those ketones and that you just have extra energy. And that being the case, it might even prevent muscle loss because now you're using the ketones to burn energy. I'm not a pharmacologist, right? But based on how this is set up and how it looks like it works, the only use that I would get out of the product, the Keto OS, would be if you're super lean, but you want to keep working out, because this could mitigate your loss of muscle because you're getting that energy from something else, because you don't have a whole lot of fat storage. I mean, you have some, right? But you're not going to have a whole lot. So instead of burning muscle, it could burn some of these ketones as an energy supply, and you probably can benefit from that. But it's not going to be used as it's marketed towards people who are trying to lose fat, because that's who looks these things up. They associate the word keto with diet. They associate that with effective weight loss. They associate that with low carbs, and this sort of like pushes the way into that conversation into the minds of people who don't do a lot of research. And like, who can blame them? It's unfair to the people who don't want to spend the time, and frankly shouldn't have to spend the time to do it, because these companies should not be misleading. I mean, I'm assuming they are being technically correct in a lot, and most of their stuff in a way that they don't get sued. Because if I were to say, hey, this company is a fraud company because it doesn't do the things that it's saying, they could point down to the bottom of their text that says, we actually state that it doesn't do this. So like, they're covered, right? But I would say, don't use this company that has to use those tactics. If they have to semantically cover themselves, then it's not worth it. It's not a good product. So in my opinion, it's not worth it. I wouldn't use it. I don't think that it's gonna really do a whole lot. Thanks for watching, and I like doing this kind of stuff. If you have any suggestions, or you want me to just go back to stupid Tinder jokes. And I enjoyed doing this research. I appreciate the content and anyone who watches it. So thanks. And next time I'll do a video. I've got a couple ideas, and we'll see what that is. Thanks.